Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Behind the Wind, Trail Talk. In this episode, Sean Slatter and his son Sam backcountry skin up Little Cottonwood Canyon and ski back down. They talk about the art of skinning and reminisce about a big trip to Africa. We hope you enjoy this episode of Trail Talk.
Well, Sam, I'm excited that you're joining me on this episode. This is going to be fun. This was an idea that our marketing and communications team had, that they wanted to do some recordings outside and really pursuing some of the things that I love. And so this is really a test case and the first of maybe many of these types of episodes. So I appreciate you being here.
I'm pumped. I'm glad to be here.
So
I'm excited.
We've done a lot of episodes where I've talked about my love and passion for skiing, and not only do we do a lot of traditional alpine skiing, but over the years we've started doing a lot of backcountry skiing and have been on some adventures. We did a whole episode of my trip to Greenland a few years ago and what that entailed, and talked about some of the other adventures in Alaska and other places, and as a result of that, we've had a lot of questions. I mean, I get this all the time. What are you talking about? You ski uphill, and what does that mean to skin? So we thought that this would be a fun way to explain some of this concept. I mean, a lot of people know about traditional alpine skiing, but this concept of skinning was this technology started nearly 2,000 years ago in, they believe, Norway, but other cultures have done backcountry skiing and skinning too. So, but they know that for sure in what's now Norway and Finland, the Norwegians started this concept of skiing, and what they would do is, a lot of this was for transportation, and to get uphill they would take animal skins and put the skins on the bottom of their skis so that they could go uphill. And we're still using the same technology today. And this is in your DNA. I mean, Sam, your background is very Scandinavian, and I like to say that this started with your ancestors 2,000 years ago in Norway and Denmark and Iceland and Greenland and some of the places I've been to and have skied. But it's come full circle back to this backcountry skiing that we do. So but yeah, just for reference, these skins go on the back of your skis. They've got a sort of a sticky adhesive that will stick to the bottom of your skis, and especially when it's cold, you have no problem keeping your skins on your skis. And they're directional, meaning that they'll let you slide downhill I mean, slide uphill,
Uphill,
but not
yeah.
downhill. So it's sort of if you've petted your dog or an animal, you've got a directional, a direction on these skins. So even on a very tall, steep pitch, you can be going straight uphill with these skins and your skis won't move. So a couple of things just as we get going, and we'll talk about some of the other details of skinning, but see if you can step into the skis there.
I'm not tripping.
So I always start with a base layer. I mean, even looking at the weather, we always, for safety, it's always important to check the weather and what are the snow conditions, and then try to dress it around what the weather looks like. And even in the summertime, what we found is that a good base layer will keep you warm or cool. And I always use merino wool, which it really helps to even when you're wet or hot or cold, it helps to regulate your temperature, and just it's fantastic. So I always have a base layer of merino wool socks. I usually have a merino wool gloves for the uphill, and then you layer up. So then under or over the top of my base layer, I'll put typically just a flannel or a shirt, and then what we call mid layer, which will provide some insulation, and then a shell that'll keep you dry and warm as well. Also, anytime we go into the backcountry, it's critical that you have avalanche gear, and so we carry an avalanche pack, and in all of our avalanche packs are a shovel. In the event you need to dig out somebody from an avalanche, a probe to help you find that person who's buried, and then we also always carry a beacon that will allow you to find a buried skier under the avalanche. You can put this on transmit or search, and so if, for example, Sam was buried on this uphill, he's got a beacon that he's wearing as well, and I could come within a few feet of him, use my probe to find where he is, and then dig him out. And usually you have, maybe an hour or more to rescue somebody from an avalanche if that happens. So always in the backcountry, we carry safety equipment, and in the event that there is an avalanche. Okay, what do you think?
Let's run it. I'm for it.
All right.
Feeling
So
good.
the other, I'm the only one in my family that's serious about this. My oldest daughter, Sarah, really was the one that got me into it. But not only do I love being in the backcountry, but I also ski on what's called telemark skis, also technology invented in Norway hundreds of years ago. That is it's a turn where you never lock your heels in. So Sam's on alpine touring skis, and the alpine touring skis allow you uphill with our skins on the skis. His heel is free, just like mine, where there's a pivot at the toe that will allow you to glide on the uphill and your skins will keep you on the snow and prevent you from going backwards, even on a steep pitch, as I said. So I've got the same concept on the uphill, but I don't lock my heel in on the downhill, and we'll talk about that some more when we're in the downhill. So we're in what's called Little Cottonwood Canyon, and in this amazing area above Alta, and this is some of the best backcountry skiing in the world, and the access is just incredible. So, I mean, typically by now, we're recording this the last week in November. Usually there's a lot of snow, and we've got a lot of options. This year, it's been sort of a slow start to the season, and there is enough snow to ski and skin up and ski down, and that's why we decided to come up here. But we go in a lot of different areas along the Wasatch, and then we've traveled to some really interesting places as well. As I said, and we've been to Greenland and Alaska and a lot of the Canadian Rockies and other places that are just amazing. This year, we're going to Japan to ski in the backcountry. And one of the things that I'm a little worried about is we haven't been doing a lot of uphill just because there hasn't been a lot of snow. So I've challenged everybody that's going on this trip to get at least 30,000 vertical uphill prior to us leaving for that trip, which is in about a month. Sam, anything you have to say about the equipment or?
Not too much. Covered it pretty well. Yeah, nothing too crazy. But it's just fun.
So,
it's just fun being up here.
Yeah, it's really fun, and I mean, my kids think I'm crazy, but I would rather be in the backcountry than in the resorts. I mean, they still would rather do alpine skiing, but I love it. I think this opportunity to connect with nature is amazing, and a lot of times when I'm training for a backcountry trip, I will get up super early in the morning at 4 o'clock in the morning when it's dark, put a headlamp on, and skin up in the mountains, and it's totally dark, and it's just it's an amazing opportunity to just think and sort of connect with nature. I mean, I've got a lot of really great memories of skinning in the early morning. So, okay, I think we've talked enough about equipment. Maybe we could transition, Sam. A couple of things that you may or may not know. We did a whole episode on when you and I went to Africa. Summer wanted to do this episode and talk about getting ready and then being in Africa. Neither of us had ever been to Africa before. This was something that you asked if we could do together. It was sort of in the middle of COVID, and it was an interesting time being in Africa. But if you look back on that, being in Africa, what are some of your memories let's start with what are some of your memories when we were planning it?
I just remember, so it was, like you said, it was in the middle of COVID. So I just remember when you said for high school graduation, you can go anywhere in the world. And the girls went to Europe, Tess went to, what was it? Where'd she go? Fiji, right?
Fiji.
They all went to crazy places. I wanted to go to somewhere that's like, it was like a boys trip. It's so manly. And so I wanted to go to Africa, go see some wildlife, go see the culture out there. And I just remember thinking like, oh man, this is way more preparation than I thought it was gonna be. I thought it was just gonna be a trip. I just remember we had to like go to like a safety class, teach us like
Yes.
how to not die when we're out there, what to eat, what not to eat,
Right.
what's the most dangerous, what's safe to do, what's not safe to do. And so it was pretty cool. And then I remember we went to the doctor's office, and you didn't tell me why we needed to go. And we went into the doctor's office, and there's this doctor. She gave us like this like packet, and it was just like all the shots we need to get to be able to go. And so we got all the shots, got all ready to go, and then we like had to like read a bunch of books, how to stay safe out there. And I was thinking like, oh man, this is scarier than I thought it was gonna be. I don't even know what to expect. We got out there, and I just remember when we got out there, it was like it was completely different. I grew up in Utah my whole life. That's all I ever known. And went to Africa, and we went to, it's the Kenya, capital of Kenya, it's called Nairobi. We stayed there for the first night, and it was like, I don't know, it was just so different, so different than I was expecting. The people were super nice and were super awesome, but it was just very, very different than what I was going to expect. And then we woke up, I remember, super early in the morning, got on this like tiny like 4-seater plane, went off like a dirt runway, and then we went out into the wilderness. And so it was cool out there.
Is this a porcupine up here? Look at this.
Oh, no way.
I love this. We've always said that seeing a porcupine while we're skiing is good luck. So here's a little porcupine coming down the trail.
That's funny.
Talking about seeing wildlife. So you're right. We have had this tradition that started with my oldest daughter, Sarah, that we knew that going away to university that we were going to have a limited time with her, and we said, pick a trip and we're going to go with you anywhere you want to go. And she went to Italy. Tess went to Fiji. Emma did an interesting trip to all of the Baltic states, which was just incredible. And then Sam, you picked
Africa.
Kenya and Tanzania,
Which East Africa.
When Summer and I started putting this together, we didn't know if we were going to be able to do it. They kept closing the borders because of COVID. There was a lot of things that we had to do. I mean, this trip really required a year preparation, and we put it together in about 3 months. Look at this guy.
That's funny.
Isn't he cute?
That's so funny. The big bud.
He's a big porcupine. Wow. That is so fun.
That's funny.
I love it. That is awesome. So great. Isn't he cute? So you're right. I mean, I remember that as well. I had 16 shots. We were taking pills for malaria 2 weeks before and 2 weeks after, the entire 2 weeks we were there. So almost a month of malaria pills. And being in Nairobi, I mean, it's a tough city and a lot of poverty. But I mean, what was your memories of going into the Serengeti?
The Serengeti was super cool. So I remember we got on this tiny little bus, and we had like a 2-hour, 3-hour drive. And we got on this bus, and our guide or our driver, his name was Simba. He was super cool. And I just remember him turning around being like, if people come up to you, try to sell you things, just tell them no. And so we went out into the Serengeti. We drove through all these like cool villages. It was cool to see how the culture was out there, the people, how they lived, what they did. And everybody was so friendly, super kind. And we got out to the Serengeti. And the cool thing about this trip is like we weren't just in like a hotel for a couple nights, but we would travel. So each night we were in a different place, a different spot. And there was one spot that was super cool. We were over in tents. Ooh, snowcat. We were over in tents. We stayed the night in tents, and I remember like thinking there was this guy. So mainly we stayed on this land where the Maasai tribe, is that right?
Yes.
The Maasai tribe, they stayed, and there was this bud. He was like what, probably my age,
Yeah.
maybe. And he had this big old long spear, and I just remember him being like, "Hey, you afraid of the lions?" I was like, I mean, if they come after me, I'm a little afraid. Like, I don't know, it's a lion. And I just remember like him being like, "Oh, don't worry, I'll be outside your tent all night." With this big spear, like no guns, no nothing, just a spear. And I just remember like laying in bed, like in these tents, and you could just hear these like lions. I got videos of it on my phone, where just these lions were like roaring all night long. I was just like, man, lions come. The only thing for us is this bud with a spear.
So he was a Maasai warrior, and to achieve that status of being a Maasai warrior, you have to kill a lion, a male lion. You have to kill a male lion by yourself with a spear. And he was our bodyguard the whole time we were in the Serengeti, and traveled with us. And then at night, he stayed up all night and made sure that we were safe outside our tents.
Because
That was amazing.
Yeah, we couldn't go to, like, if we wanted to leave the tent, we had to have him with us.
Right.
If we wanted to go somewhere,
Yes.
we always had to have him with us. I remember there was one night, Big Sean, he's like, "Oh man, we gotta go to the bathroom." Because once you're in your tent for the night, you're good. You can't really leave. And so we were like, "All right, let's go." So we were going to the bathroom, and our bud's with us with a flashlight and a spear. And we're walking. Bud told us to stop because there's like some rustling in the bushes. We look up, and there's a big old buffalo, like what, 50 yards?
Yes.
Maybe less than that. It's right in front of us, scary as crap.
So
It was so scary.
we were surprised that the Maasai have more fear of the buffalo, which they call the Black Death, and hippopotamuses than the lions. Weren't you surprised by that? I mean,
Yeah.
I've always thought actually both the water buffalo and the hippopotamuses were fairly docile and didn't move quick, but they told us that there were more deaths by hippos and the water buffalo than even by lions or other animals.
They had like a chart, didn't they? Or
Yeah,
something?
right. So here's this huge 2,000-pound water buffalo, the Black Death, looking at us as we're, and he just said, "Don't worry, I'll protect you."
I was like, "Oh man, this bud's skinnier than I am." Like, just got a stick. It was scary, but we were good. So funny.
What surprised you about being in the Serengeti in both Kenya and Tanzania?
Yeah, I just think it was just cool because there's so much wildlife. Like there was a ton. And like, I was thinking, I don't know, we'd go out there, drive around, see a couple lions, you know, because we were there for what, week and a half, 2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks. Yeah, we're gonna
And-
go up here.
I just remember thinking like we saw a lion every day, like we saw like lions taking out other animals. Like it's just super cool, super crazy out there.
I was surprised at how many animals there were in the Serengeti. I just had no concept of that we were going to see thousands of animals. And I think at the end of the trip, I mean, we saw so many lions, so many elephants and giraffe, and every day, the first day we started counting the lions, and the end of the trip, it was like no big deal. We had seen so many lions. It was fun seeing the cheetah and the leopard in the wild. That was amazing.
That was
and,
cool.
I mean, we saw a lot of hyenas. And as you said, going into the tent at night, you'd listen to the lions roar and the hyenas, and it was just magic, wasn't it?
It was pretty cool. And like, it was cool too because we were there during, what are those buds called? The wildebeest, the big migration, which like, I don't even think that was planned really. We just like, that just like we happened to be there.
That's right. So this great migration every year is thousands of wildebeest, water buffalo, zebras. They travel to find water sources, and we were there right at that time. It was amazing.
There was tons of them. Like, it was literally like, it was like Lion King. It was crazy.
So, Sam, I mean, anything else that you remember from being out in the jungle?
I remember, like, I don't know, just like how we got there like the first night and we saw like all those monkeys. Like, I'd never seen a wild monkey ever before in my life. And just like I remember them being like, oh, it's no big deal. Like, it's just a monkey, right? And just like how different, like, just perspective these people had on the world than we did. Just like, I was like taking pictures of the elephants, thought it was the coolest thing, and they're just like acting like it was no big deal. I remember that was like one of the first things I noticed. It's like just how different it was out there, and just like, I don't know, just how used they were to it. It was cool.
It's amazing.
Such a different culture.
Yeah, so there's over 50 tribes in these parks,
more
and
than that.
we got to meet several of them. The food, the people, it was just amazing.
Super fun.
So when we went back to Nairobi, we had an experience to go into the Nairobi slum, and we spent a couple days there. And talk about that experience.
Yeah, so that was crazy. So one of the things that we did was when we were there is that the company of safari that we were with, they like, a lot of the money that like goes into the trips and stuff goes to these kids, these orphans who are trying to get better education. And so at the very last day of the trip, we made it back to Nairobi, and we got to go into the slums, and we got to go to these orphanages, and we got to see what the money was going to and how it benefited the kids. And I remember driving through the slums though, just thinking like how crazy, how different like the world is. It was like really an eye-opener. Like you say, living in Utah, you kind of live in a bubble, right? And so going out there was really eye-opening. It was really made me grateful for the things I did have and all the other things that I have, because these people were, I remember talking to this woman, she cut up potatoes on the side of the street to try to make rent. And it was crazy to see, but it was cool to see just how happy they really were when we made it to the orphanage, and we got to meet all the kids, and we got to meet all the teachers and see their equipment right in the middle of the slums. And they were just so happy, so grateful, and it was really cool. I think that was straight up, probably one of my favorite parts.
It was incredible, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then we've stayed in touch with one of the students that we've been sponsoring. I mean, talk about that. And over the last few years, he's been sending me letters and updates, and I've passed that along to you. But I mean, talk a bit about what this program is and what it looks like for the student.
Yeah, so there's an optional part at the end of the trip that you got to sponsor a kid through his education. So when he was, I think it was in first grade.
Yes.
He started in first grade, and you got to sponsor him, give him the money that he needs to be able to get a full education, something that he wouldn't be able to get. And it was cool to see that. And he's a cute little bud. He's getting pretty old now, honestly.
Yeah.
And he handwrites letters like every month, let us know what's going on. And the orphanage will send it out to us, and we get to read it, see what's going on with him, and see how he's doing, and just the progress that he's making through school. And it's cool that we were able to have that opportunity and have that connection with him.
So one of the other stories that I think is, I don't know, I just think this is amazing. We were in the middle of nowhere in the Serengeti, animals everywhere. I mean, we were hundreds of miles from any town. And we got out of the Jeep for a minute, just taking a break. Sam walks like 20 feet from the Jeep and finds an American $100 bill in the middle of the
There's
Serengeti.
really nowhere, the middle of nowhere.
And I'm like, yeah, this is Sam's whole life. In the middle of Africa, and finds this $100 bill, and gave it to the school when we were doing that tour, which was like heart-wrenching for me, and that was kind of a
Random.
special moment that I'll always remember.
So
So the other big thing was when we were in one of the camps, you received this mission call. And I mean, so part of the reason we're doing this is you've been back for just a few weeks after doing this service mission for the last 2 years. And I want to talk to you about that, but talk for a minute about being in the camp. And just the whole experience was crazy. So
Yeah.
talk about that.
So, when was it? So it's kind of crazy. So I've been home 2 months today. And
Wow.
so when you go, so something through our church, you can go, it's optional. When you turn 18, you have the opportunity to go serve a mission trip. And the church that we're affiliated with will send you anywhere in the world. They could send you to Africa, they could send you to Japan, they could send you to Idaho. It doesn't matter. Anywhere in the world you can get sent to. And so it's like a huge process. It like took months to be able to like apply for it. You had to go through all this stuff, and it took me from like March all the way to like June, I think, when I got my call. And so I remember getting into the camp. I got a notification saying that I got my assignment where I'm going to be going to for the next 2 years, where I'm going to be living at. And the bud, he turns around and goes, "Oh, by the way, Wi-Fi's down," because we didn't have any cell service out there.
No
Yeah.
No
Don't have
phones,
nothing.
there were a few places where we had Wi-Fi in a few of the camps.
But not
Not
a
often.
lot. And so I was like, you gotta be kidding me, dude. Where I'm gonna be for the next 2 years, I gotta wait. And I was tripping. He was making fun of me.
And I don't think you slept that night.
No way I did. I was like, it's on my phone, can't even open it. And so we wake up, and I remember like just not sleeping at all, anxiety through the roof. And he goes, like, when he told us the Wi-Fi was down, he said it would be for sure up back in the morning. So we like get out of our tents. I'm up at like 5 a.m., right, trying to see where I'm gonna be going. And then he goes, yeah, some reason, Wi-Fi's still down. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me, dude. And so if I didn't open my call up at that camp, then it was gonna be another like day.
Couple days
Yeah,
before we got to another camp.
It would have been like 2 days or something before I got to see it. And so we're packing up camp, getting in the bus, getting ready to go, and somehow Wi-Fi turns on. Like, I gotta open my call, and I opened up my call, and it said Pittsburg, Pennsylvania. And I was like, what the heck? I was like, what's in Pittsburg? It's like the only thing I could think of was the Steelers or the Pirates or something. And so I got my call, my service mission call to Pittsburg, Pennsylvania, and that's where I've been in the past 2 years.
So, as you know, I did not want you to do this. It was in the middle of COVID. It was just a weird time anyway. I said to you several times, why don't you just go to school for a year and then figure this out? But you were adamant, no, I want to do this. So, I mean, that was part of the reason I thought, okay, I'm not going to see you for 2 years. We're going to go do this trip to Africa and be something that we'll both always remember. So, I mean, I'll always remember that night too. I mean, that morning when you opened that, when you got notice, you then couldn't open the email, and then that next morning, right before we were going out on safari, you learned you were going to Pittsburgh for 2 years. What were your thoughts on that?
I had to be real. I knew Pittsburgh was in Pennsylvania. I knew where Pennsylvania was, but I didn't know where in Pennsylvania Pittsburgh was. So, and I just remember like opening up my call, because like my buddies were getting called to crazy places. Like I had a buddy called to Japan,
Right.
buddy called to Tahiti, buddy called to Barbados, Cape Town, South Africa, Chile, Brazil,
Right.
all these crazy places. And then it was my turn, and I was like, okay, I'm in the States. I'm like the only one out of my buddies that stayed in the States, and I'm in Pittsburgh. It's like, what even is Pittsburgh? Like, small town, big town? I know it's a sports town, but I like had nothing. I had no expectations. I didn't know what to do, and I was just kind of like, oh man, I could be in Japan, but I'm going to Pittsburgh. But could be somewhere crazy, learning a new language or something. But I loved Pittsburgh. It was so fun. Huge Steeler fan now, huge Pirates fan now, and like living in the city was super cool. Another cool experience.
So, I mean, as you know, I miss you so much, and the two of us have been best friends since you were a baby, and did everything together, and having you gone for those 2 years was tough. I lost my skiing partner, my golf partner, my surfing partner, and so glad to have you back. I think, let me bookmark this for just a second. So, what was it like growing up in this LSI legacy, and are there some things that you remember about LSI in your childhood?
Yeah, I remember going to a lot of parties. I remember like Christmas time was party central. Just going to fancy restaurants, meeting a bunch of people, trying to remember all these people's names.
Did you hate it?
Sometimes. No, I'm just joking.
I'm sure.
I'm just joking. I was just, I don't know.
Was there any one that you remember that stands out?
Corianne.
Oh, okay, so
Yeah.
Great. Let's talk about Corianne in a minute. But, yeah, I mean, Corianne was so kind.
Yeah, I remember
to you.
Corianne. I remember Brent.
Yeah.
Brent's a stud.
So these guys were just, they watched you grow up, and, you know, still always when I see them ask about you.
Yeah. They're homies.
Any of the events that you remember that stick out?
I remember going to the New Yorker every year.
Wow.
Dressing up. Just made me wear a bow tie. I hated it. I hated wearing a bow tie. Man's made me wear a bow tie. Go to those parties. And I remember we went on a cruise one time.
Yes.
And like,
that's right.
I remember we went and like,
we did a couple of them. We went to Mexico, we went to Alaska.
We went to Mexico, and like, I remember I bought this wooden snake. We were in this like fancy like party thing. I kept putting this wooden snake on people. You're getting pissed at me because I'm just messing around. But
that sounds about right.
You remember that?
Amazing.
So just like things like that, I remember. It's funny.
What, I mean, there were a lot of times during your childhood, I mean, that I was traveling a lot. Talk about some of those memories.
Yeah.
And, you know, being gone, and
remember you being in DC a lot.
Every month.
Always going to DC. Seems like every week. I feel like.
There was a time when I was there a lot.
There every week.
But at least once a month, or maybe more.
And so, I remember you being gone DC a lot. I remember you went to Korea one time.
Yep, that's right.
Went to Korea, went to Singapore, went to, I don't know, California a lot. I'm trying to remember. Been all over the place. But I remember you being gone forever, and then like come home for the weekends, and we come up and ski.
And that was always the ritual, was no matter what, we skied.
We skied every time.
We skied every weekend.
Ski in the summer, ski in the winter, and boat in the summer. It's always how it was. Woohoo!
Was there any other, you talked about Corianne and Brent. I mean, they, like I said, they watched you grow up, and I thought a lot about you, and I mean, came and saw you when you were born as a baby. And Sam, when you were born, you know this story, but interestingly, you contracted pertussis when you were first born, and they quarantined you then in a tent, and your mom and I slept in that tent for 3 days in the intensive care, and it was a tough time. And I remember when they released you from the newborn ICU, and I mean, a lot of the LSI team came to see you, and it was that was an interesting time. And also, here's the other thing. I mean, we thought that you were going to come during the first week of December, and then in fact, I was in Sacramento and had to come home because we thought that your mom was going to have you early. And then that went on until the 3rd of January. So, and then you were super sick and in the NICU. And so, but I remember how supportive the LSI team was. And like I said, even a lot of them came to the hospital and to see how you were doing. And so, I mean, LSI has really been you haven't known anything else. I mean, I've had one job, you've known me to have one job, and, you know, I drug you along the way. So I appreciate you always just being supportive. You just never, I said, we're going to do this, we're going to this party, and you just go, okay, no problem. So easygoing. It's amazing. Any other memories of LSI?
I remember, I don't know, it's a weird one. When I was like when you walk into the office, like where the kitchen is, there's like 2 glass doors. And I remember like, I don't know what was going on. I don't even know why I was there. I was pretty little, but I remember like sprinting as fast as I could, like right into the to the glass door, like double black eyes for like a month. I just remember like everyone like always, every time I go to the office,
head first into those glass doors out of the break room. And here's what's funny. There's been 50 people that have done that, not just you.
Dude, a couple black eyes for a month.
I remember.
And I remember every time, like, even like still going to the office, people, oh, you're the kid that sprinted into the glass doors. Like, what the? Why is that what I'm known for? It's funny though, something I remember. But just like being there, hanging out there.
Love it.
Everyone, every time I went, always give me a treat or let me play games on their computer. It was fun.
Love it. Well, Sam, this has been fun. So we're not that far from the summit. I mean, you're doing amazing. You haven't been on skins for over 2 years, and I was worried what kind of aerobic base you were going to have.
That's messed up.
And it's impressive. You've done amazing, and what a gorgeous night. So
yeah, no, I'm sweating.
I mean, we've seen some of the most amazing mountains along the Wasatch on this skin, and it's been fun doing this podcast with you, and appreciate you taking time out of your night to do this skin with me.
Of course.
It's
I'm
fun.
just glad to be up here.
Yeah.
It's fun. Good to be home. Good to be back.
Fun watching the sun go down in the mountains. And it's super cold. I mean, it's probably in the single digits where we're at, almost 10,000 feet on the mountain.
Sweating. Holy.
We've gone almost 1,800 vert, and it's almost dark.
Yeah.
And you've done amazing. It's incredible.
I told you got to keep up with me, big man.
I know. Well, Sam, thanks so much for doing this, and glad you're home, and excited to do some more adventures with you.
Yeah, it's good to be home.
All right, buddy.
I'm glad.
I'm so proud of you. I love you so much, and thanks for doing this recording with us.
Of course. Happy to be here.
All right. Well, Sam, thanks so much, and this was a lot of fun. Now, at the top of the mountain, we do what we call transition, which is we'll take the skins off, put them in our backpack, and then you'll lock in your alpine touring skis.
Stuff.
Like I said, I telemark, and so my heel doesn't lock in. But we strip the skins from the skis, and then clip back into the bindings, and then ski down. Sam's sister Mary, this is something that she's been practicing for a long time. She can strip her skins with her skis, her boots still in the bindings. So if anyone's interested in doing alpine touring skiing or telemark, or have any questions, I'd submit them, and I'm happy to respond to it. My recommendation is that you take a snow safety class, at least in an introductory snow safety class, so you're not in the backcountry. I mean, it is very dangerous, and people die in the backcountry all the time. And so my recommendation, if you want to do it, which is, it is amazing. It's such a great winter sport, and it really is my passion. But if you decide this is something that you want to pursue, make sure you have proper avalanche gear and that you have a snow safety course, at least, that you're not going to be putting yourself in danger